Hello, welcome to another episode of What's Flowering Inside My Indoor Garden. Now I will show you what was in bloom in the months of February and March of 2023. This was probably one of the months that I had more flowers in bloom, and I don't think it will happen so soon again because it's Phalaenopsis time, Dendrobium Nobile hybrids time. So I did have quite a beautiful show. Not all of the plants will be amazing here because I lost some of them, but I will show you while we go. And to start, we'll talk about the Oncidium Rosy Sunset. This one is basically a cross between the Pupucea Sunset and Oncidium Sotuanum. The Sotuanum is the parent of the Sharry Baby and also the Twinkle. So this one, what I love about this plant is that it is a color change Oncidium. Unfortunately, I was away when it started to bloom. So when the flowers are very young, they are orange in color and then they turn this sweet pink. I cannot show you the orange ones this time, maybe next year. These flowers, they are very similar to the Sharry Baby, for example. The color is different, but the fragrance is very similar to the Twinkle. It's something that they inherit from the Sotuano. Is that sort of, I don't know, that sort of sweet. It's like honey, vanilla, in between for me. So that sweet fragrance, it's present on this plant as well. I find it beautiful, especially because it's possible to have like a ton of flowers. I broke one of the flower spikes. So I had only one to show you this time. But I love this Oncidium so much. And I found it locally and it was very cheap as well, which always amazing. The next one, it's another Oncidium. So I have here one that's quite a reliable bloomer. It's a orange no ID. It's not exactly orange, so I would say that the flowers are like brownish with white and yellow, but when you look from distance, it looks like they are very orange. So the flowers, they are tiny, but the flower spikes always produce a ton of flowers. The plant is very large. And I reported last year is the first time that it's blooming after I reported. And the flower spike is beautiful, but I think it produced more flowers last year. I'm not sure. I think it will probably bloom again this year. Let's see how it will come. The disadvantage of this plant is that it is large. But when the flowers open, you have a ton of flowers to look for, and they cascade in the most beautiful way. So now let's talk about dendrobiums, shall we? As I said, my Dendrobium Nobile hybrids, they were all in bloom between February and March. Most of them opened the flowers in February. They were in my cool space from December I think I put them there in November. So they were there for 2 months. The first one to bud and open its flowers was my white dendrobium. It's a no ID. I found it in a supermarket. It's, I think, a very affordable and available plant. It's the most easy to rebloom. This one, you don't need to wait so much and you don't need to have very cold temperature. It's the first one to produce buds from all of my Dendrobium Nobile hybrids. So if you want one that's the easiest one to rebloom, I would tell you to get one of these. And this time, it produced a ton of flowers in one of its canes. It was beautiful, amazing. The flowers were gorgeous. It put a show. So one thing is, if you take good care of it, offer highlight, fertilizing, and if you have a cool down in temperature, oh my gosh, you can definitely have a beautiful show when these plants bloom. The next one after that opened its buds was my Dendrobium Yukidaruma. This one was the first time that I saw this plant in bloom. It wasn't the most amazing show because the plant was very young. I got it as a division and a young division. So it produced a small cane and now it has a larger cane, but the larger cane didn't bloom. It was only the smaller cane that decided to put some buds and open its flowers. When I saw it for the first time, I was wow. Because they are white with a very dark center, the flowers, but they are large. They are very large. I think, impressively large for Dendrobium Nobile hybrids, especially compared to the other ones that I have. It comes closer to the Comet King. But I love the contrast, how the white contrasts with the back of the flower. It is beautiful. I love it so, so much. The next one is the Comet King. It's an OIG as well. I think it could be the Comet King because how the flowers look like. The orchid put out a beautiful show. It produced many flowers. The flowers are large as well compared to the first one. Usually they are a nice tone, very bright pink with a yellow center. It's a beautiful contrast. Just to let you know, all of them, for me, the fragrance is very similar. It's that sort of strong floral fragrance that Dendrobium Nobile hybrids have. I'm not really a fan of it. For me, it's nice if they are far from me. What I like about them is when they produce their show, they put out their beautiful flowers, but the fragrance is not for me. Just to let you know, if you have fragrance sensitivity, I don't think it's the one that most people adore. But the flowers are beautiful. I love this plant. That was the first Dendrobium Nobile hybrid that I acquired. The next one is the Dendrobium Yellow No ID. So I got it last year, and it used to have a very tall cane full of flowers. So this year, I don't think I provided the right light yet for this plant. So it was the last one to bloom for me. I thought it wouldn't rebloom this year. It pushed out some buds. Not an amazing show, but it put out some buds, so I'm happy with the result. So I noticed that the flowers were larger this year, which is amazing. So I'm very happy with this plant. I'm sorry about the background noise. I hope it doesn't disturb you so much. The aquarium was on. I think I fixed it now, but just to let you know, from this point on, it should be better than it was how the sound was before. So that were all the nobiles that I had in bloom. Now I'm gonna talk to you about the only Cattleya that I had in bloom these months. That's my beautiful Cattleya aurantiaca Mishim Spot crossed with sibling. This plant, it has the same shape of the flowers of its parents. That's the Cattleya aurantiaca. And it is a very easy to grow Cattleya. Look, I had a very difficult path with Cattleya, so it was really difficult to look after them for me. I never had an issue with this one. As you can see, it pushed out 1,000 of aerial roots. I need to repot this plant after the flowers are gone. The flowers, they last for at least 3 weeks. They are not fragrant, but look at this color. I think it's the brightest orange flower that I have in my house. I don't think I have any other orchid that has this color. Honestly, it's so vivid. And on top of that, the flowers, they are tiny, very, very tiny, but they are like waxy. So the petals, sepals, they are not thin at all. So when you touch the flowers, they are like sturdy, a little bit waxy, and they are full of red dots around it. This year, I had a much nicer show compared to last year, because last year was the first time that this plant bloomed. So now that it's reblooming, it's amazing. I have 2 canes blooming at the same time, which is beautiful. This plant, for me, at least in my environment, it only blooms once a year. So it blooms, every year blooms around springtime. That's when it bloomed last year. And it matured 2 canes, and both canes are blooming now. So I think when the flowers are gone, I'm gonna probably see it in bloom again next year. I don't expect to see it blooming in the next month or when push out and mature a new pseudobulb. I don't think it happens with this one. But, oh my gosh, look at it. It's beautiful. Now be prepared. That's the longest part of this video because we'll talk about Phalaenopsis. As I said, it's Phalaenopsis season. I showed you some of them that were in bloom last month. And let's see the other ones. The first one that I have here is what I think, it's a no ID, but looking online, it looks like one hybrid that's called Phalaenopsis mignolite rose. I don't think it's a registered name. I'm not sure. But what I love about this plant is that the leaves are pretty dark And the flowers, they are like the typical pink, purple tone that you see in Phalaenopsis around, but it has like a white line around the borders of the flower, which gives a contrast, and each push out so many flowers. I find this plant so beautiful, and it's one of the plants that will be always darling to me because I save it. And as you can see, the leaves has some marks on it caused by thrips, as always. So the next one is Phalaenopsis Pyong cherries. Again, it's a no ID. It's just what I think it could be. So this one, it's a multifloral one. It's a reliable bloomer. It push out so many flowers. I need to repot it. I think next year with a better medium, it will put out a even better show. But it has a very sweet tone of pink, very light, like baby pink. And the flowers are thin and very common, like hybrid Phalaenopsis, but it does have a fragrance, a sweet floral fragrance. If you sniff into the plant, you will feel it, which is amazing. Maybe it's one of the schilleriana hybrids because of the leaves. The leaves has some sort of variegation to it that resembles the schilleriana. So I think it could have the schilleriana as one of its parents, and probably many other Phalaenopsis as well. The next one, it's one that I like a lot because of the color combo. It's different from most Phalaenopsis that we find in supermarkets. And I found this one in the supermarket. It's quite nice. I think it's very easy to find it around, at least here in Europe. This one's the Phalaenopsis Shingray's Gold Staff. It's a well-known hybrid that push out these beautiful flowers. They are a mix of purple and yellow, but when you look from the distance, looks like they are orange. And the contrast is amazing, especially when I have so many pink and purples around. It's very, very nice to have this one. It does have some fragrance. If you sniff the flower, you feel it. But it's not a floral one, it's a strange one. Nothing that you can feel in your room when you're in it. Only feel like sniff your plants if you come very close to it. Next one is maybe Phalaenopsis I-Hsin Yellow Leopard. Again, it's a no ID hybrid. I'm just saying things that I researched and they look similar, but I will never know. This one, it has a keiki and a mother plant. That's why it has 2 flower spikes. What I love about this plant again is because it's different from my other Phalaenopsis. As you can see, it does remind a leopard. When you look at all these dots on the yellow background, it gives this sort of contrast, and the flowers, they are waxy as well. So they are not as thin as the other ones that we were talking about before. So it's a different one, and I found it in a garden center. So all of these are plants that I found around, which is amazing. With Phalaenopsis, there are so many out there that we can be quite creative. I love this one as well. This one's a very healthy one, full of roots, full of flowers. The next one, it's another one that I saved with the first one that I showed here. It's a no idea. I have no idea what this could be. So the flowers, again, I have a cake potted with the mother plant. I never removed them. I didn't want to do it. So I have only 1 flower spike. The flowers, they are white and they have a red lip. So, which gives some sort of contrast. It's a very common Phalaenopsis. You can find it everywhere. But what I like about this one is, again, one of the ones that I saved, they were dying when I got them at the supermarket at a discounted section. They were very cheap. I think they were £1, less than £1. And the fact that I saved all of them will always remind me that it's possible to save your plants and then to see them grow and rebloom. Next one is a hybrid that lots of people look around for. It's not the cheapest one, and I've never seen it in supermarkets. Usually you have to buy it in orchid nurseries. It's the Phalaenopsis Mini Mark. I got it from Orchid Garden last year in Poland. It came to me, I didn't know, it had some mealybugs on it. I cleaned the mealybugs and everything seems to be okay with the plant. It's a little bit stressed because my brother-in-law reported, and I've never unpotted and repotted again. I should do that at some point soon. It pushed out 2 flower spikes, but I didn't film it on time. That's one of them. It should have more flowers and look a little bit better, but I lost time. So these are the last flowers that I have here. They are very, very tiny, and I think what people love about this flower is because it has a beautiful lip. Look how orange the lip of these plants are. And they are dotted as well. So I think it's the shape of the flower with the super orange lip. That's what people love about this one. It is bright, it is beautiful, and I can't wait to grow it even more and wait for it to push out more flowers for me. Another one that I don't know its tag exactly, but I do think it's a Sogo Vivian. I found it in a local supermarket as well, believe it or not. People love this plant because it has variegated leaves. I'm not sure if I love this kind of variegation in orchids or not. I haven't made up my mind. I think when it doesn't have flowers, it looks like a snake plant. I have a snake plant in my house, so it's not that I don't like snake plants. I do, but I do think it reminds me of a snake plant. People love these plants because you can look at the leaves. Not only, it won't be like that plain green that the other ones are. So they have this variegation, this lighter variegation on its leaves. It pushes out so many flowers. It has 2 flower spikes full of tiny flowers. The flowers are tiny, but it's so cute. I love how compact this plant is. Yeah, I love this Phalaenopsis. Even it's not only because of the peloria, it's maybe because how compact it is and how it pushes out the flower spikes. I love the tiny flowers as well. So I like the combo of this one. Talking about peloria, I'm gonna go to the next one. It's the only peloric flower that I have, like Phalaenopsis peloric flower that I have, believe it or not. And I'm not really fond of this kind of peloria when, as you can see, the flower is closed in a different way. We don't have all of the petals and sepals open, or I think the sepals here are closed. I don't know, you can correct me down below. But when I look at this plant, I think it was last year in the supermarket, I like it because I think I like the white background with this tone of purple and reminds me of a little zebra, some of the lines. So it's a no ID, but it's a peloric one. So I will refer it as a peloric no ID. And I like this one. It grew so much since I bought it. It was tiny. It pushed out more flowers now, but it's not at full capacity yet. Maybe next year it will be. It's pushing out a lot of roots, so may not fit inside this pot soon. And it's a beautiful one. It's another cute one. Talking about cute, I have this next one, another no ID. It's a striped pink Phalaenopsis. This one, it has only 1 flower spike. I love the flowers because I love, again, these stripes, all of these lines on the flower. But this plant suffered a lot. The leaves, they were getting tinier and smaller and smaller and smaller. Usually with Phalaenopsis, if the leaves, they are not growing length compared to the old leaves, that means that your plant is suffering. So this plant was not happy. Took a while for this plant to bounce back. So it's capable of producing many more flowers than this only flower spike. But that's what we have now. So let's go to the next one. It's this one, someone was able to identify on Instagram for me, but I lost its name. I'm sorry. I found it at the local supermarket. This one, I think is not a small Phalaenopsis. Looking at the leaves, I think it will become a large one at some point soon. Again, I bought it last year during summertime, so I reported. I wasn't even expecting it to rebloom so soon. So it pushed out 1 spike and only 4 flowers this time. I think I've showed you this plant before. It has this beautiful color combo that looks like a sunset for me. What's beautiful is how the flowers, how they combine everything. It has a floral fragrance, very subtle, and also the flower is waxy, which reminds the polychylus, but definitely it works as a hybrid that blooms when the temperature drops. So it's probably a very mixed, complex hybrid out there. After that, one that I showed you in my last video, when I was in my bedroom, is the Phalaenopsis Yan Shui Sweet Girl Shine Girl. This one was a keiki that I saved from the mother plant that was dying last year. The cake pushed out one flower spike. This one is another one that's a big Phalaenopsis. So this one is just a tiny baby and push out a flower spike that's so sweet. That's what I'm showing you. But again, next year you have a larger plant with many more flowers, but nonetheless it's cute. This one, the next one I showed you in my last video as well. It's a polychilous one. It's called Phalaenopsis minstrela. I don't remember its parents. I think it's the trasps crossed with... I forgot the name. I will leave it in the tag down below. It's so gorgeous. Look at these flowers. They are waxy. They have this different shape with the center is yellow. It's a very bright tone of yellow. So when you look at it, it's like these tiny red flowers with this yellow center, which is very beautiful. It does have a fragrance, but not really good and nothing that you would remember, I think. So that's not the most important part about this plant. And the next one that I'm gonna talk to you about is not a Phalaenopsis anymore. It's enough for Phalaenopsis for now. Maybe in the next videos to have some to talk about. Is my big purple Vanda. Look at that. I wasn't very lucky with my Vandas. I mistreated them last year, so they didn't put out a show. But this one, I think I'm doing a good job because look at the flower spike. It's beautiful. It's impossible not to notice when we arrive at my home. They are so large in greater number as well. And look at that flowers. I have nothing else to say. Just look at that flowers. It's a no ID. I think it should be easy to identify this one. If you know the tag, let me know down below. But yes, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. So the last one, I haven't managed to film on my camera. Hey, because I had, as I said before, they were fixing the windows. So someone dropped this plant on the floor and broke the flower spike. But I filmed with my phone, so I'm sorry about the quality of the end of this video, but that's what we have now. And I really want to show you because it's different from most of the things that you have seen before. Is the Propetalon Golden Bay. If I'm not mistaken, the Propetalon hybrids from Zygopetalons mixed with something else that I will definitely write down below. I basically swapped some plants years ago on one of Facebook groups, I think. So I sent some divisions and another person sent me the division of some of their orchids, and the Propetalon is one of them that we swapped. She sent me a tiny division of the Propetalon and it rooted so well and grows super well as well. And it decided to push out a flower spike, and I wasn't expecting it because I thought it wasn't mature yet, but it was. And the different thing about this one, especially when I think about Zygopetalons, they are usually purple-green, but the Propetalon is like yellow. When it opens first, it's like a greenish yellow, but then it becomes a little bit more like a tone of a warmer yellow with all of the dots on the background. And it's nice, very beautiful as well. It's a different flower compared to the other ones. It's not something that we see all the time. And I don't think it's one of the most common hybrids out there. So it's nice to be able to show you one Propetalon here as well. And that concludes my video for today. I don't know how many plants I showed you, but it were many, many. That's why I rush a little bit with the Phalaenopsis, because otherwise I would be here talking to you forever. And I'm sure I have some others that I will try to show you in the next video, what's flowering in my indoor garden. But I hope you have enjoyed this episode. If you did, hit the like button. You can follow me on Instagram. It's the same thing. It's one orchid a day there as well. And you can leave comments down below. I'd love to hear from you. Let me know which one of these were your favorite plant for today. And I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.